Welcome to Let's Get Metaphysical, the show that stretches you beyond your five senses. When you are looking for your next step on the path into the unseen, we've got you covered. Join epic adventure seekers and level up your game with your host, reality magician Allie Bierman.
Greetings, epic adventure seekers. Welcome to your guide to demystifying your world. I'm Allie Bierman, and you are listening to Let's Get Metaphysical, Connect Heart and Mind. Today, I'm excited to introduce you to Jacques Allrich, a man of many talents. We'll delve into his practical and heart-centered worlds that may cause you to stop and take a breath. First, I have a question for you. Have you ever felt like life just happens to you? If that's you, I made a gift for you. Step in a new direction. In this quick read, you'll begin to discover your power and control over your everyday life. The link to download your copy is in the show notes. And now, let me introduce today's guest, someone who, I get emotional, someone who touched my heart deeply and mine, my friend and fellow writer, Jacques Allrich. You may want to buckle your seatbelt for this adventure. Jacques Allrich is a loving father, caring friend, serial entrepreneur, inspirational poet and best-selling author, a Bitcoin investor, and a health advocate. Defeated cancer, which started him on the quest to find the best health technologies for him to maximize his health and wellness while helping others to do the same. Be sure to check the show notes for all of Jacques' links in that realm and all the others. Now, one of Jacques' favorite quotes that he penned and lives by is, "You become really good at what you practice. Practice being loving, grateful, and happy, and you'll find many things to be loving, grateful, and happy for. Practice worrying, being doubtful, and ungrateful, and watch you become real good at that too. It's your choice what you practice and become good at. Be conscious of what you're practicing. You'll naturally become good at it." Welcome to the show, Jacques.
Hey, how we doing today?
I'm doing super. And
Miss Allrich.
yeah. So, Jacques, I love that quote. Would you please share with us how it came to you and how you live it in your life?
Well, being a poet, I'm always coming up with different quotes based on my life and experience. And I've realized in life that, a lot of things that I've attracted to my life was because of the practice that I had. I had bad habits. It was on point I was extremely shy, and I wanted to get out of that. And I made a conscious decision that I didn't want to be shy anymore. I wanted to, get out of that mindset of being shy. So I know the only way that life changes if we have practices which naturally allow us to make those changes. I mean, that's how I found out the subconscious mind work. I remember I read a book called The Power of the Subconscious Mind, and it talked about that whatever we do, we have to program the subconscious mind. And the best way to do that is through repetition. Subconscious mind works through repetition. So whatever we do in our life, we're creating a practice of it. So I made a conscious decision to make a practice of being more outgoing, being a people person. And because of that, I am now a people person. I'm an outgoing person. And over time, I've realized that whatever I focus and practice becomes my reality.
That's so cool. It's one more reason I connected with you. I was a shy person all my life, except when I was on stage. I did the same thing. I made a conscious decision and just started acting like I wasn't shy and speaking up, and realized I don't know what I was afraid of. So I'm now an outgoing person. I love people and I'm comfortable, just like you. That's so cool. Our energies really connect. And also, that whole philosophy that you were describing, it reflects the philosophies of all the great spiritual writers of all time, from the ancient sages to the mystics then and now. And what you were talking about, the repetition, I'm a big fan of Napoleon Hill, sounded a whole lot like Napoleon Hill's auto-suggestion and practices. So I place you in the same category with those wise teachers. And I thank you for sharing the way that you do.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that very much.
Now, how did you find out about metaphysics? Did you first come to living with awareness, or did you discover the concepts and put it all together?
It's been a long life journey because growing up, my father used to say some negative words towards me, and these were very disempowering words. And so because of that, I've made the decision to get into self-development because I need to develop myself. I needed to get out of being doubtful of who I am. Because our parents, most people don't realize, they're our first teachers. Mm-hmm. And so I'll even say they're our first gods, because as children, we don't really know the concept of God. All we know is our parents. Our parents are pretty much not only our gods, but they are also our guides. So they guide us through life. So the things that they say, we basically make them become gospel in a sense. We make them become real in our reality. And so my father said a lot of negative words. He just called me stupid, when I didn't do things the way that he thought I should do them. And, of course, he didn't mean nothing by it because, he's always a loving father. I love my father. But, my subconscious mind kept hearing that over and over again. So it took that identity on of me being stupid. And so I need to change that identity. I knew that for me to do that, I had to read. I had to get into developing myself. And so over time, I've come to the realization that, that you have to study and show yourself approved. The Bible states that. Most people don't get that. It's like you have to study and show yourself approved. So it's all about your own approval, your own value, because we all are valuable. The thing is, society and the things that happen, we forget that, how valuable we are, because we're made in the image and likeness of a divine creator, which essentially means that you are divine by your very nature of the creator creating all of us, no matter how you define that creator. Call him God, call him Allah, Buddha, but it's the same. It's one creator expressing itself in many, many ways. And that's where a lot of people have a problem. They don't realize that it's okay to have differences. It's okay to respect them because they're all, it's like the color of the rainbow. It's all part of the process of this God consciousness, which is all around us, which is part of who we are. And the more that we can see the God in ourselves, we can see the God in others versus judging people based on the fact that they're not just like you. Imagine we had everybody had the same beliefs. What kind of world would we have? If everybody believed the same thing, everybody thought the same. I mean, that's not going to allow us to experience life, even the ups and the downs of life. It's a process of unfolding, it's a process of growing. Just like when you work out in the gym, what makes you strong is the pain. The pain makes you strong. And then the pain of lifting those muscles, tear those muscles up. And in resting those muscles, that's how you become stronger. So I believe in life the same thing. I believe that a lot of challenges are blessings in disguise. They become blessings as you start to see beneath the surface level of the things that's going on in your life. You see that it was part of your unfoldment, part of your growth process. And as long as you ask yourself a powerful question, what can I learn from this situation? Because most people ask themselves, why me? Why not you? Because, because if you don't go through something, you don't get to the other side of it to learn more about yourself, learn about who you are. And through the challenges of life, that's how we grow and develop and be who we are. So I'm really grateful for all the challenges and all the things I've been through. I forgot what question you asked me.
I was asking you how you got into the metaphysics, but that's what you've been explaining.
Thank you. So so that's part of it. And then I read a book, a very, very powerful book by U.S. Anderson called 3 Magic Words. So that's really got me the start of book. Really changed the trajectory of my life. Because I'm a poet, so I was writing poetry before I wrote that book. But I wrote a lot of poetry to women. You know, that was a way for me to get close to women is write poems.
Ah,
You
good
know,
plan.
and so I did that for a couple of years. Wrote some really nice poems. But when I read that book, it got me to writing metaphysical poetry, because the three magic words is believe I am God.
Oh,
That's the three magic words. So
okay.
he did a really good job of showing that how we all are gods. I mean, the Bible says ye are God's children of the Most High. And most people miss the part in the Bible where Moses goes up to the mountain and asks, who shall I say sent me? And in the Bible it says, I am that I am has sent you. I am is my name forever. Most people don't realize what that really means. What that means, it means that your state of being is a creative element that creates your reality. So if your state of being is poverty or poor or ungrateful, then that state of being will create your reality. You know, so at any time you can change that state of being and attach it to a new state of being, state of love. So I am love, I am peace, but it's not just the words, it's your state of being, that thing itself that creates your reality. You know what I'm saying? So as you see yourself being in a state, living in that state, you know, Neville's another person that I follow. He really talks about states and how important states are. And he gives a really good example. Like if I'm in Florida, in that state, I'm going to just experience the weather being nice. If I'm in the state of New York, I'm going to experience the weather being cold, a lot of time people being pushy. So just like you have those states, those physical states, you have those mental and emotional states, which are even more powerful, because you put yourself in a state of abundance, then you get to experience all the things that state comes with. You know, gratitude, you know, manifestations, you know, love. As we change our states, we get to experience all the benefits of that state. So yeah, so that book started me on my journey, and I've been forever changed since that time. I've written so many poems regarding metaphysical things, as well as things that are daily to our experience. Like I wrote a poem called Responsibility. And if you like, I'll share it with you, because it's a very powerful poem.
Absolutely, please.
Sure. So it goes something like this: responsibility. Your life is based on how you respond to it. Take a minute and meditate on this. You have response ability. So take responsibility to control your destiny. It really doesn't matter what happens in your reality, but it's how you respond to it, you see. Practice makes perfect, yes, indeed. So practice responding to life peacefully and lovingly, and the challenges will become a blessing entirely. Always ask yourself, what can I learn from this situation? Because everything that happens in your life is part of your transformation. Remember, it's all good, it's all God, it's all energy. So practice and perfect your response ability. So that's responsibility. You know, I created that from actually from, of course, my life, from dealing with life, but also I read a book called Stephen Covey's book, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. And there's one of the principles or one of the rules he talks about is having response. What does he call it? No, it's not having response. I think it's the second principle, which talks about being proactive. So he's talking about being response able. So I took that concept and I created responsibility. And to me, that's really having true responsibility, is you being aware of your response and taking full responsibility, how you respond to life. And the more you can respond in a way that empowers you, the more you be empowered. Just like I said earlier about practicing. So if you practice responding no matter how life, whatever life throws at you, you practice responding in a positive way, then you know you become very good at dealing with life, because life won't. People can't push your buttons because they can't control how you respond. You do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And then you won't have no buttons to push after a while, because you have so much peace within yourself, because you practice being a person that responds in a way that empowers you versus a way that disempowers you. But it's a practice. It takes a practice. It's not very easy to do if you're used to, when somebody says something to you that you feel that's detrimental, and you respond in that way for such a long time. It might seem like it's a difficult thing to do, but nobody is born responding to certain situations. You become part of that response because of some conditioning that you've gotten over the years. You know, none of us are born angry, because babies are happy.
Mm-hmm.
We're born naturally happy, but then after a while, because of stuff our parents said, because the way life turns out, we become angry, we become pissed off, we become all these different labels because we've practiced those labels over time. And we made whatever something happened to us, we made it mean something. And it's the meaning of it that creates the friction within ourselves, because, you know, something could happen to me that's negative, I can change the meaning to be positive. And so because of that, my outlook of it gonna be different. With you, the same thing happened to you, and you focus on the negative, you're gonna get more of that. You know, and so it's all the meaning you give it. So we're powerful human beings.
Mm-hmm.
We can even convince ourselves that we're not powerful, and we won't be.
I remember I studied with Bob Proctor years ago before he was ever famous for The Secret. And one of the lessons that he very powerfully taught me was, if something's a lot good, it's also a lot bad. And if it's a lot bad, it's also a lot good. And you get to choose how you're going to view it, which is what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
So how old were you when you saw what was going on in your world that was your interpretation, and that if you wanted to do something about it, you could go out and find people who are expressing what you want to learn, what you don't know yet? How did you come to do that?
I mean, I've realized that a while ago. I mean, this was like, well, I'm 52 now, so we're looking at probably 30 years. So when I realized that, you know, whatever I want to learn, I can learn from somebody else, and I have to surround myself with the right people to get the results that I want. Sometimes I forget that in life. I mean, we all fall short of the glory, to be our best, but it's in me to know that, you know, because I've been very successful financially in my life, and then the times where I wasn't successful financially. Throughout it all, I've learned that, hey, it's really my perception, my perspective that causes those issues. It's not nothing outside, it's all internal. Because even the Bible says the kingdom of God is within. We are creating our worlds by the self-talk, by what we imagine our world to be. And we get to experience, you know, those thoughts. You know, one of the books I read a while ago called The Kabbalion talks about the first principle is that all is mind. It's true. Everything comes from your mind. I mean, tell me one thing that you're experiencing right now that doesn't come from you thinking about it.
Right.
There is nothing. You know what I'm saying? Everything comes from your mind. So does it not make sense for you to understand how your mind works? So where you can maximize your experience here on earth. Yeah, I like that. That rhymes.
Jacques, talking about the mind, in your bio, you had something very interesting that we haven't gotten to yet. And I want to go there in just a moment. First, I want to take a quick break to hear a word from our sponsor. Hang in there. We will be right back. Today's show is sponsored by Metaphysical Ministry International, my home base where I get to be the minstrel minister. I created a very special offer for you, my Epic Adventure Seeker. You can get the combo package of the ebook and audio of my popular book, What You Don't Know, You Don't Know, How Your Brain and Mind Keep You Stuck, for the very special price of just $9.97. That set normally sells for $27. Click the special offer link in the show note. Okay, so Jacques, you were just talking about how the mind creates everything. And I know in your bio you mentioned defeating cancer. Could you tell us how that all played together?
Sure. The first thing was my attitude towards cancer. The way I looked at it was I didn't give it any power, no more than someone to give any kind of disease in your body, like a cold or pneumonia or anything like that, because I realized that the way that we relate to anything or I come from, how I relate to everything has a lot to do with how that thing affects us. So I didn't make the cancer thing being the big deal. And so that was one of the things that was my attitude towards it. So because I didn't make it a big thing, I didn't see it as a big thing, even though I took it, of course, I took it seriously in terms of my healing. I took that very seriously. I focused on my healing and not the problem. Because most people, when they have an issue, they focus on the problem and they fear the problem because, number one, they don't understand the problem. But the main thing, though, was, I tell people the main thing is your attitude towards the cancer. Most people, they fear the cancer because they don't understand, well, how's cancer formed? You know, what I've learned in life is that thoughts are things. And so a lot of times cancer comes from a lot of stress in our bodies, comes from, I found that too, that, comes from people being vaccinated years ago, and it just stays in your body, and over time, it can mutate into what you call cancer. So there's a lot of different reasons why people get cancer, but for you specifically, you have to find out what the reason is for you. For me, it was I was stressing. I was just going through a lot at the time. But once I, realized that, I started, changing my diet, started reading books on people that healed cancer. Like I read a book called You Can Heal Your Life. So that's a very inspirational book with Louise Hay that also was diagnosed, and she was able to beat cancer as well. So my whole focus was to focus on people that heal cancer versus on people around me telling me, hey, I got to be realistic about this cancer. And, the doctors told my family I had 6 months to live. And they told me I need to go to the hospice. But I didn't believe none of that. And they told me that, I was like, whatever. Like my attitude was like, nope, you are wrong about that because I'm going to be here. And I plan on being here. And because that was my attitude, my expectation was really high. I built up my conviction that I would be here. And I'm here.
Yes, and, definitely are. And that's such a powerful message. And I'm so very glad you shared that. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're quite welcome.
Led you down the path to become, as you describe yourself, as a serial entrepreneur?
I was always interested in making my own money. I mean, my father was an entrepreneur. He was also, he had many skills. He was he was a carpenter. He knew plumbing. I remember he used to work for Ford Motor Company, but when he got laid off, he didn't miss a beat. There was never a moment in our lives that we didn't eat because he always found the way to provide for us. So I guess that stuck with me. Like, hey, I gotta do for myself as well. Of course, he bought real estate. So this is a man that didn't go to school. Or he never went to college. He's about eight children.
Wow.
He did a rather successful. All of us are doing well. None of us got locked up in jail. Actually, I got locked up one time, but it was just a mistake. But I was in there for maybe 3-4 hours, but I got the situation resolved. But no, we never did any hard time. Let me just say that. We had our own successes. Like a lot of my brothers and sisters, they're done. They finished college. They had their degrees and all that. Me, I started off on that route. I was very good in school. I was pretty much straight A student in high school. I just got bored with school. I had a friend of mine that he finished high school, but he didn't go to college. Every time I saw him, he had a knot of money in his pocket. This guy, man, he was like, and the thing is, he didn't even know how to read. But
Wow.
every time I see him, he would have at least several $1,000s in his pocket. So I'm like, what are you doing? And he did all kinds of stuff. Even in high school, he did bus trips. He used to go to a lot of the bars. He sold all kinds of stuff. He used to go to Canal Street. He would go and buy, toys, hats, gloves, you name it. He sold all kinds of stuff. But that's what he did. He went to all the different bars in the area, and everybody knew him. His name is Maurice. I mean, he's passed, but he taught me that you can make your own money. He taught me to get out of my way of making money, because I was like, man, I'm going to school. My father, I was really good in school. My father, he wanted me to, go to college and have a good job and all that, because that's what he did. He had a good job. But, but there was, you couldn't make unlimited amount of money. He's this guy that didn't go to college, and pretty much every night he would make $500-$600, maybe $1,000 a night within like a few hours of just going to these bars. And he didn't even was a good salesperson. He was just he would have this stuff. He had a little cart. He'd walk around in the bar just showing what he had, and people buy. Oh, let me get that, Maurice. Let me get that. So he did. And he went to another bar, did the same thing. Some days, sometimes he didn't sell anything, but overall, he always did well. And so that stuck with me.
So you really had a lot of that kind of energy from your father and from your friend Maurice, because you can't learn, in my opinion, you can't learn a skill that really carries you through life from a textbook or sitting in a classroom hearing a lecture. You learn by doing.
Right. That's true. And he was doing it. He was, and then I said, let me go ahead. So I started doing it too.
Cool.
And I started going, I didn't go to bars. I went to like different other places. I went to salons and different places. And I started making good money like he was. And plus another thing I found out about selling is that the more you sell, the more confident you become. So I remember I read that in a book. If you want to become confident, start selling. Because you're going to get a whole lot of no's. You're going to get a whole lot of rejection. And if you can deal with those rejections, it will build your character. It will make you a very strong individual. And it did. It made me like, whatever. My goal is to make this amount of money. So what? So what I get to know? So what? It's not personal. For most people, they're like, oh, I can't sell. No, you can't sell because you haven't learned the skill of selling. That's all it is. If you learn the skill, like anything else, if you learn the skill of communicating to a person, that way they can hear, they can connect with your message, they can like and trust you. There's no reason why you can't sell. We sell ourselves all the time.
Absolutely.
Our kids sell us.
Oh yeah.
Oh please, mommy, good woman. Can I get this? I'll be good. I'll go to bed. Wow, parents say, okay, all right. It's like the same thing. It's about really connecting with other human beings. And there's a lot of books on how to sell. So when people tell me they don't know how to sell, they can't sell, you haven't learned the skill. That's all it is. If you learn the skill of selling, you can sell. You can offer people something that's valuable that you believe in that can help them. And so why not learn how to sell? Plus, once you know how to sell, you don't need a job. Because you can sell all kinds of products, especially now with the internet. There's all kinds of products. You sell information products. You become an affiliate. Because I'm an affiliate of different programs, and I share my link with people, because I sign up as an affiliate. Whenever they purchase products through my link, I get a little kickback. It could be 50% of the price, it could be 25%, but I'm able to make money just by sending an email or a text. See, I'm all about working smart, not working hard. Most people, they think it's about working hard, but now with the whole internet, with the whole cryptocurrency boom, where you can make your money grow for you. much better than the bank. It's really about leveraging such technologies. That's one thing I always said, that I never want to be a broke artist. So I never was a broke artist. Like people that I've seen other artists that have a hard time with money. Never had that issue. I always made money because I made a commitment. Like, I'm not going to be one of those broke artists. I'm going to love what I do, make money with my art, or let me make money with something else where I'm not starving. You know, and I haven't maximized my book sales, but I will, because I'm in a very good financial situation now in my life. So I can, when I decide to focus on that, I will hire the best. That way I can put out a great product that's going to convert into buyers. But yeah, it's really about creating wealth and abundance in your life and being able to share your art and do it without compromise. A lot of times artists compromise because they have to make the money. Let me learn how to make the money first, and then I will focus on my art and really build that part of my business up as well. So far I've been doing pretty good, and I'm grateful.
But the overall energy that I get from you and most of my guests who are on the podcast, you know what true happiness is, and you live in true happiness. And that energy just goes out and makes your life happen.
That's right. That's true.
What are people searching for when they discover you? Do they have particular problems or questions, and how do they discover you? I know I found you in a clubhouse room and you were sharing your poetry, and I immediately wanted to reach out and get to know who you are. But you have such a diversity of worlds, if you will.
I do.
So I assume there are many different avenues that people find you when they're seeking something.
That's true. I mean, people find me on Instagram, on Facebook. I'm in those platforms. I'm on Clubhouse as well. I'm on different platforms so people can reach out to me. So, but my main website is aboutyourpower.com. So that's where a lot of my links to different projects I'm involved with. Okay. Be able to find those things and see, what interests you. Because I have information on crypto, of course, information on my book. I have my own T-shirt line, information on a product that can help you to deal with this whole COVID situation.
Into About Your Power will take care of everything.
That's correct. We take care of everything. I have one link. It's a Linktree link, and that Linktree has gives them access to all my different ventures.
Normally, I would ask, what do you see in your future? You're going to pursue different avenues, but I think that would be kind of redundant with you, because I can't imagine you not always looking for what else is new out there. I'm very, very grateful that you're in my world and for everything that you shared with us today. And all of your links are in the show notes. And was there anything else you wanted to say in closing?
Yeah, I just want to say that people just have to realize that, we all are creators. And it's up to you to choose how you want to create. If you want to create a life of love, peace, and harmony, then you have to, focus on that. So the more you focus on it, the more you practice the state of being happy and grateful, and you work on yourself, there's really nothing that you can't accomplish in life. The only limit the only limit of your life is the limit you put on yourself, pretty much. That's what it boils down to.
Right. And something for everybody to take to heart.
You've been listening to a talk on the wilder side. Thanks for tuning in to Let's Get Metaphysical. Be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss a single episode. And while you're at it, please leave a rating and review, and be sure to share it with your friends. Tune in every Monday for more exciting insights and wisdom on life beyond your five senses. Until next time, take a small step in a new direction. Start now.